Hi, welcome to Rambling in the Void. Basically, this space is just going to be where I can talk about my interests, in particular video games, since that's something that's just really interesting to me. Um, and I figured, well, if I'm going to be talking about something, may as well be something that, if I find interesting, maybe people who listen to me will absorb that as well and be like, oh, wow, yeah. And so, yeah, I think this one in particular will be about like Minecraft SMPs because that's just something that's been on my mind a lot about like how I think it's just really been interesting in the past couple of years how that has taken like a rise, I guess. I don't know if we're in like a kind of like I don't know if it's continuing to rise or if it's kind of like in a plateau of like interest. Because I do know like and obviously with like how COVID was happening in 2020 that I know like the Minecraft SMPs really rose up then and got a lot really popular. Um, and now it's 2024 and to me, yeah, it's still pretty popular. Maybe not to the extent that it was in 2020. It's still crazy to me how many people will sit and watch because I'm one of those people. Like in particular, there's like some that I watch and I kind of forget how popular the creators I watch are, and then I see that they get like a million views on a YouTube video, or there's like 10,000 people watching a stream, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. And I think that in particular, it's something that I guess could get stale after a while because it's like, oh, it's just people playing a block game. Like, what's so interesting about that? But the thing about Minecraft, it's because it's like a sandbox kind of game where you can kind of where you're given like the basics and then you can either work with that and build your own like and like no two people are going to exactly play it the same, right? And at the very least if you're going to have fun, no two people are going to be playing the exact same way. Like people are going to do their own things and some people are going to like play hardcore, which is a game mode of where you get one life and then you die. It's a survival that's extra hardcore. And if you die, that's it. Like your game goes into spectator mode or your world is deleted. I remember that's how it used to be. I think it just would just delete and you wouldn't be able to like spectate. Um, and now you can. I think that's how I think it did change over the years. But basically, yeah. Either way, technically without commands, you wouldn't be able to go back to play again. Like that's it. And so some people play that. Some people make like really cool contraptions with redstone, which is a game mechanic in there that's I guess the best way to put it is kind of like electricity is the best. It's like the easiest way to explain it because it's the thing that powers machines. Um, so it's like the power source of the of these contraptions, and some people can make like awesome cool things. There's one creator Mumbo Jumbo who's known for his like redstone videos. There's another called Tango Tech, and these are both on creators on Hermitcraft, which is Minecraft SMP that's been going on for over 10 years. Like season 10 just started like a couple weeks ago. Um, and Tango in season 9 of Hermitcraft made a game called Decked Out 2. It was the second part. The first part of Decked Out happened in season 7, and then season 9 he did Decked Out 2, and it was absolutely insane. The redstone on that build was like absolutely bonkers. But it was so cool. Like I wish I could fully explain, but it was like a four-level game dungeon crawler basically, where it was like it's a game. Again, this goes back into like Minecraft being like a sandbox kind of thing, where you like it's so crazy that you can make games inside of the game, and it's like yeah, there's like things that people make like mini games, yeah, but that like was its own, basically own functioning thing. Like all he has to do is like restock and maybe do like once in a while checkups on like the redstone to make sure everything's not like broken because again, it's not like a flawless thing, but it's so crazy how like it was like a whole thing of someone could just put in like an item and then it unlocks the game, starts it. I had like your own like deck of cards to be able to customize your runs, and it was like just a kind of like game of chance, like a bit of strategy, a bit of luck, and it was just absolutely insane to watch people play it. Like it was so cool, and it used like the mechanics of Minecraft to get it to work, and it was so cool, and like that was something that someone made. Like and one, it was made solely in survival Minecraft, basically vanilla with a few like anything that was modded was like for sounds. I think basically it was like for sounds. Anything modded was sounds. There was like some texture things to make custom sounds, but like basically the mechanics was vanilla Minecraft, and he did that in survival. Like in survival, you have to collect all the items yourself. In creative, you're able to like, and not saying that like oh people making stuff in creative is less impressive, but like the guy didn't have command blocks. He only was able to like use again using survival Minecraft mechanics, and it was so cool like what he built. Like he had to gather all the materials himself, and yes he did get some help from the hermits too build some parts, but the majority of what decked out was made by Tango's hands, and he also did. I think he basically did all the redstone himself. I think he no, I don't think basically. I think he did do all the redstone himself. And so that's just insane to me. And he worked on that for over a year. And the other hermits, because he did this on Hermitcraft, the other hermits were played and they loved it. It was so much fun to watch. They also had guests come on to play decked out, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun to watch. And now that Hermitcraft season 9 had ended, after the end of each season of Hermitcraft, they will like clean up everything to make it like a bit easier for people's computers to handle, basically to kind of just clear up like some space and whatnot. And then they give the world download, and people are now able to play decked out like on their own, like, and it's so cool to me. It's just insane. It's so cool, and it like everyone who played it like just loved it and was like, this is like a really good game. Like it's a good game in a game, yes, but it's still like absolutely insane that he was able to make that, and it's just so cool. It's just so cool to me. Like it's just so cool. To see someone like have that passion project for over a year on working on it, and yeah, like he needed to take some breaks. Of course, you don't want to get burnt out from your projects, but like still, he worked on that for over a year of building and doing redstone and like just making sure that this game was fun and that it wouldn't be too easy, but also not wanting to make it too hard. Like having to do that game balance was also, and having like these play runs and having like working with people to make these custom textures for the game, and to make and him working on like the sounds so that it was fun. It wasn't just like it just wouldn't get bored. Like it was so cool. And then there was like two like ways to beat the game. One was to like you have the most points, or two, you literally solved like what was going on in the game, and like you couldn't like, and it was made so like you couldn't do both, you know like if you wanted to win like like the kind of like contest that was going on, you wouldn't be able to solve it, but someone else could. And if you wanted to solve it, you wouldn't be someone who could win the game, like the contest that was going on, because well, you would be throwing a lot of runs to be able to go back and look and try to piece together things, and that's just it's a nice balance, and it's a nice like so that we don't just have like one person winning. It's like a multi kind of thing, and it's just so cool. Like an SMP that I think I will be that I think holds up, especially because it's been going on for 10 years, over 10 years at this point, is Hermitcraft. I think that it's made a pretty nice community for the most part. And that it's like the creators on Hermitcraft are very respectful, and very like they're good people. at least from what I, and obviously it's like, oh well, how can you tell, you don't know them personally? And it's like, yeah, but at the very least, as far as we are aware, they're not weirdos. Which, it's a low bar, right? It's like, oh, like that's a low bar to have, and it's like, yes, I know that is a very very low bar, but still, they're not weirdos. They, they're just not weirdos, and they're older. They're like, when people typically think of Minecraft, they think, oh, younger people, or if they think, oh, there's like a Minecraft SMP, oh, these people are like late teens, early 20s, and it's like, no, like the hermits are older folk, late 20, mid late 20s to 40s. Like they're hermits that are like my parents' age, and you would think, you would hope that people around those age are a bit more mature and a bit more less hot-headed, and thus are less likely to just jump in and do reckless things and do irresponsible stuff. Like, they're a bit more likely to sit and think about their actions. And also, like, there's a thing of that's really big on hermitcraft, which is communication, and it's a thing that's like has to be emphasized every time, because even though the hermits are older, the fans aren't. They are like the I'm aware that the majority of like some of the hermits, their fans are of their younger audience, and so there might be like some concern of like, oh no, like you're being mean, ew, awful. And it's like, well, it's been like a thing of like, well, if it's in the video, like it was something that was talked about, like it's fine, they communicated through these issues. And I think that's really cool, that that's like something that's emphasized, like we communicate our issues, we're not going to just air out dirty laundry, and cause like issues and problems. Like we're going to be adults about it, and we're going to talk through it. Like it's not going to be something that's just, oh, like petty, like remarks and just being petty about like the small things. It's very much a, they talk about it behind the scenes. They don't need like us to be their knights in shining armor and come to their defense and yada yada yada. Like they can do it themselves. They're adults. They can have these conversations. Like they don't need us to go and attack. Like that's, and they like actively encourage or discourage people from doing that. They are very much like, we talk about this. You don't need to go do this. Like don't do this. Don't go on their videos. Don't go on their posts. Don't do that. So yeah, a lot of the hermits are older. Yeah, I think it's like the 40s. I think 40s, 50s, 60s. Like they're older. Like there's like mid 20s. I can't think of like the who's the oldest hermit now, but they're all older folk. Like they're at least in their mid 20s, is what I'm saying. Basically mid to late 20s. And so you have like a bit more of a hope that they're going to be a bit more responsible with what they say and what they do, and are aware that like we have an audience, we have to not be a bad example, and should probably properly show how to basically be a proper example, yeah, for the younger audience, so they know like, hey, don't be awful, don't be a bad egg, don't be a bad apple. So yeah, so Hermitcraft is like the big one for me, in the recent years. 2022 2022 is when I probably got into Hermitcraft. I've known about Hermitcraft for a while. My younger cousin was into it and was like, would try to get me and her sister like to watch it, and we just never did until I didn't until 2022, and her sister didn't until like literally like a couple months ago, which is really funny. And we were both like, wow, this is great, we love this. And my cousin is like, yeah, it is great, isn't it? I knew you would love it. So that's a bit funny to me, that we're both like, wow, this is awesome. This is great. We absolutely love Hermitcraft. We love the Hermits. We love Grian and Good Times with Scar and Azuma and and Rendog and Zombie Cleo. And my cousin's like, uh huh. Yeah, yeah, he would. And that's funny. Another Minecraft SMP is the Life series, which is a hardcore mini series with a twist. And so basically, as I explained earlier, I explained what hardcore was earlier. It being a harder difficulty level than regular Minecraft, and where if you die, you're out of the game. And so it's that, but with a twist. And so in the first season of the life series was called Third Life, and they had three lives, third, three, yeah, um, where basically it was intended. So it was experimental. Where the intention was to start off collaboratively, and then as you lost lives, you become a bit less. And once you're on red, which is your third life, your goal changes and you are now hostile to other players and you try to kill them. You are trying to get rid of their lives so then, you're the last player standing, basically the whole thing. And that's not how it turned out at all. It's really funny when you watch the first episode and then go all the way to the last episode of the first season, and you're like, yeah, that's not how this turned out. But end of the first episode, really, and you're like, this is not how it's going as it was intended, and that's okay because it's a very improv, very like you go with the flow kind of thing. And it was so much fun to watch because in Third Life, even though there was the intention of it being like very collaborative and everyone working together, and it immediately went to, because again, so typically in Minecraft worlds there is a like almost limitless world for you to go explore. Like it's a really far, like it's all thousands of blocks away from where you spawn to where the end of the world is. But in this game, but in not in this game, in the life series, in the life series, it's very much there's a limited world border. And so there's a limited resources, and so that kind of like raises the stakes a bit because it's not like you can go far off and like hide away. No, instead you're in a small enclosed space with limited resources and it's just limited. And so you have to fight for these resources basically, and if you get a monopoly on something, well then people are going to want that thing and they're going to go to you and they're willing to spend anything, almost anything on it because you are the only one who has it. And so it went from let's all work together to we have to get what we need in order to survive. And then a whole like storyline of like two sides and a whole war went on, and then it ended off with so it was started by Grian. He's the one who put it all together, and it was with a group of 13 other Minecrafters, some of who are in Hermitcraft, some who are in other things, and they all play together. And it's so at the end it was Grian and yeah, I'll say it now. Just flashing on the screen. Spoiler warning, spoiler warning. If you're interested in Third Life, skip to insert timestamp. um, and so at the end of Third Life, it's just Grian and Scar, and they have to like fight it out. And to some people, it's so silly. To some people, it's like, wow, this is great. And to others, it is emotionally devastating. To some, they then take that and make it into something that's going to haunt you like it's haunted me. And it's so much fun because I think a big aspect of what makes these like Minecraft SMPs so good not is like the fandom, the creativity and the collaboration between fans and them sharing like how much they love this thing that these people have created and put together, and being like, I love it so much, I wanted to make something for it based off it, like that kind of stuff. And I think that's really cool. There's like um, fanzines that like people make, and that are organized, and it's so cool to see like the fans come together and put together the stuff like for like the live series, for Hermitcraft, for specific seasons of Hermitcraft, for Hermitcraft altogether. I say just recently. It's been a couple months, but in season 9, this content creator Gotensu Scar, he's one of my favorites. His mega base, which is basically the big build of season 9, was a theme park called Scarland. He built a base, and it was the for his cat Jelly, and he's always wanted to build like a theme park, and he built this. He built a. It was so cool. Like I'm going to put pictures of some of like screenshots of it because it's amazing. Like again, this is also the same season that Tango Blake built, like decked out. So season 9 was, it was just recent, but it was still so wonderful, so great. Like I absolutely adore season 9 of Hermitcraft. And this is coming from someone who, even though just recently got into Hermitcraft, I have watched since season 4. Or I watched season 4. Like I went back, watched the videos of all. So I can say like I have a pretty wide range of seasons I've watched, and now I was watching season 10. Like yeah, like I'm not just saying this because I've only seen season, Anyways, um, so season 9, adore it, and so Scarland, um, was so cool. It was amazing and beautiful and so well built, and the fans saw that. The fans loved it, and they made basically a book, an artist book based off of Scarland, and showing like the different aspects of like not only just drawing like, oh, like I'm sure some people have just an image of like, oh, just a bunch of pictures of Scar and a bunch of pictures of how the land and blah blah blah, but like no, they it was really well organized, from based on what I could see, like the architecture, the costumes, the landscape, like it was so cool, like the different sections that I got to see of it being put together, and it was so well done. And they're organizing to be able to print these books to for charity. They're making their plan. They were planning to make a like physical copy, basically wanting to make a physical. They were like, interest check. Do you want? Because the proceeds would just go to charity. Which, speaking of charity, again with Good Times at Scar in season 9, there was Scar um, organized an event for streaming for charity for Gamers Outreach. This was the charity that Scar organized this for, was Gamers Outreach. And basically, this guy, he organized the Hermits to put together to make some mini games and to just have a day of streaming to raise money for this charity. And they raised a lot of money for this, and they were able to make these like gaming stations for kids in hospitals, and it's just so cool. It was just so cool that they did that. They've been giving us like updates and like going to like the hospitals that like had these built, and they have like little plaques that was like, donated by Hermitcraft community, something like that. And it's just really cool to me, that they, because like they, like Scar was saying, like I want people to like, see, like, I think it's good to be able to see like what your donations did for people, and how they were used. So you're not just like, oh, I wonder how my money was spent. It's like, this is how it was spent. This is like as physical as you can get, of an, not necessarily proof, but like, so yeah, I accidentally spent the majority of my time talking about Hermitcraft, and not even really getting into the life series, which is the biggest thing that's on my brain. I didn't get to quite talk about other SMPs that I enjoy, but I think that's for the best for now. Eventually, I will. I'm thinking about keeping this up and going on and talk about other interests I have of other SMPs as well as other video games, which is like the big thing I think I want to talk about with this. And I think this will be a nice to create a space for like inspiration for me, of to kind of like give me something to do, of like, well, there's nothing to like, it's not a big, not necessarily hassle, but like stress, not stress, not strain, but like pressure. There's not too much pressure on me to cater to a certain audience. It's very much a, this is for me, and this is because I want to have fun making something. And I think this would be a good exercise on me getting used to talking, and for me to edit, and for me to just again use this as a space for inspiration. So yeah, I enjoy talking about my sillies, my Minecraft sillies, and thank you for listening.